Good evening, Suidlanders. How are you? We hope that you're well. I want to share I think this is going to be a brief video for those of you who prefer the shorter stuff. There's quite a wide variety of opinion on what length of videos we should make. Some people far prefer the longer, more in-depth things like the American style and the European style of let's say right-wing or conservative or Christian videos, which tend to run to an hour and a half. Although there are some exceptions. There are people like Paul Joseph Watson and Black Pigeon Speaks, and I'm trying to think of one other, it's evading me, who do videos of 5 to 10 minutes. And those videos are the ones that are most watched. It's a well-known YouTube phenomenon. But as I say, there are many people who prefer the in-depth ones, and so too many people who prefer brief ones. I think that this one is going to be short. And this is all about articles that were published, particularly the one in Business Tech on the 31st of March this year, 2021, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord Jesus Christ. Not CE, not the Common Era, Anno Domini. And the article on Business Tech is entitled, "A List of Failure, South Africa's State-Owned Companies Facing Financial Crisis." It's not attributed to a particular author, it just says staff writer. And as I said to you already, from the 31st of March. As briefly as possible, Auditor General Tsagani Maluleke has produced the national and provincial government audits for 2019-20, providing an overview of government spending and points of concern over the annual period. She naturally spoke about signs of improvement and ensuring progressive and sustainable improvements in outcomes. However, of course, the facts tell a different story. Don't tell your liberal friends, they'll have a nervous breakdown. Or they will throw a tantrum. One particular point of concern is the country's state-owned enterprises, and Maluleke expressed concern that a number of these entities are in serious financial difficulty, and did not submit financial statements for auditing. Not submitting, I don't care. She pointed to South African Airways and LMT Products, a subsidiary of Denel, which are both under business rescue. She noted that SA Express is also under provisional liquidation. In addition, many state-owned entities disclosed uncertainty in their financial statements whether they will be able to continue as a going concern. So this is cases where state-owned enterprises have said, we're not sure that we can carry on. These include the Petroleum, Oil and Gas Corporation, South African Broadcasting Corporation, Denel and 3 subsidiaries, Densure, Denel Aerostructures, and Denel Vehicle Systems, Independent Development Trust, Land and Agricultural Bank of South Africa, the Land Bank, Pelchem, I've no idea who is Pelchem, and South African Nuclear Energy Corporation. A similar disclosure was made in the financial statements of Eskom, which is one, this is poorly written here, it should read, which is one of a number of the state-owned entities that the Auditor General does not audit. The Auditor General's report shows that government had already issued guarantees of 445 billion rand to 11 state-owned entities, of which 350 billion was to Eskom. And these entities had used the guarantees to obtain 374 billion rand in loans. Now that's an interesting thing, when you can't get a loan equivalent to the guarantee when the guarantee is provided by a state. It means that the people who provide the loans believe that the guarantee is not worth its face value. In the same way as a bank might say to you, well, you know, you could get $1 million for your house, but we'll only loan you 800,000 rand against it because anything could happen. But it's slightly different in the sense that these are guarantees. So, in other words, if your home price, your home's value, I should say, was guaranteed somehow, miraculously, for R1 million, and was not subject to market vicissitudes and exigencies, market demands and changes, market changes and demands, then the bank would, in all likelihood, give you R1 million or close to it. But the people who've loaned the money to these companies against these guarantees, have not believed that the guarantees were guaranteed. So clearly there is mistrust in the market, in financial markets, about the South African state's ability to make a guarantee. Maluleke said that there are also key public entities that are similarly under financial pressure. A total deficit of 64.95 billion rand was incurred by the 29% of public entities whose expenditure exceeded their revenue. 92% of the total deficit related to the road accident fund. 92% of those entities whose expenditure exceeded revenue, where they incurred debt or arrears. We know that the sums involved are enormous at Eskom, for instance. But 92% just by the road accident fund. I can't see how it has long to go. And you know, this is what Mr. Miller has been telling us for years, indeed for decades, that he was inspired to begin Suidlanders. I don't want to put too many words in his mouth, but I've spoken to him on this subject many times and conducted a 7-hour interview for archival records once, or 7.5-hour interview. So I think I'm on fairly safe ground when I say that this has been the gist of Mr. Miller's message for 2 decades, that he was initially inspired to begin Suidlanders because at the time of the 1994 elections, his training enabled him to perceive that the proposed direction and trajectory of the new South Africa Rainbow Nation was not feasible. I think that's fairly accurate to put those words into Mr. Miller's mouth. There were 21 public entities that disclosed uncertainty about whether they will be able to continue as a going concern. They include the Road Accident Fund, no kidding, the South African National Roads Agency Limited, SANROL, Property Management Trading Entity, and a number of provincial public entities. Okay, so there are 3, but then it says and a number of provincial public entities. So who knows whether 3 means 6, or 3 means 9, or 3 means a dozen, or 3 means a score, 20. Yeah, public entities with serious financial health concerns. Golden Leopard Resorts. The deficit figure, not available. A subsidiary of Golden Leopard Resorts called GL Resorts, deficit, not available. The Road Accident Fund, a deficit of 59,624 million. 59,624 million rand. Auto packs, I've no idea what that is. Deficit, nobody knows. Corridor Mining of Limpopo, deficit of 14 million. Now, presumably it's a fairly small company, because if this is on the list of public entities with serious financial health concerns. So presumably 14 million deficit is based on a annual turnover of, let's say, 50 million or 40 million or 60 or 70 or who knows. Moteo Technical and Vocational Education and Training College. Okay, that doesn't sound like a very big thing. Nevertheless, not available. Maibuye Transport Corporation, 1 million. But it is in serious trouble. So presumably the 1 million is based upon a low turnover. Northwest Development Corporation. Can you just imagine? Anyway, it's not available. The Agricultural Research Council, not available. But they are in serious trouble as the deficit is not available, but they are listed as being in serious trouble as a going concern. The Cross-Border Road Transport Agency, nobody knows. No figures available on their deficit. Couldn't tell you. Sorry, it's our business, but we don't know. Got no idea. We wish we knew. We'd love to tell you. Itala Limited, 75 million deficit. Property Management Trading Entity, Angaz. Free State Development Corporation, Angazitina. Gateway Airport Authority of Limpopo, 26 million. Great North Transport of Limpopo, 62 million. The Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority, Shotukuti Angazitina. The Northern Cape Rural Technical and Vocational Education and Training. Okay, that sounds like a fairly small entity, you know. Somehow they managed to get themselves into a 13 million rand deficit. KwaZulu-Natal Nature Conservation Board. Now this irritates me a lot, because I grew up on the south coast of Natal, and my dad is to this day a renowned fisherman, and at the time he was a legendary free diver, snorkel diver. It was very, very famous. So we were always conscious of the environment, of the sea, of the coastline, of the, oh man, what is the word for the bush? That Natal bush that runs along the coastline, that can be seen from the Eastern Cape right through the Transkei up to Northern Natal. There's a word for that bush. We played in that bush, we lived in that bush, we spent hours in that bush, and of course we were always on the lookout for the Parks Board, the Natal Parks Board as they were then known. Anyway, they changed the name to the KwaZulu-Natal Nature Conservation Board, 91 million rand in deficit, and there's serious concern over their viability as a going concern. Northwest Parks Board, 59 million. South African Civil Aviation, the Civil Aviation Authority, guys. Angazi. We don't know. We don't know how much trouble we're in. We can't tell you. We're in trouble. We don't think we can continue. We don't think we can carry on. But we don't know. And then you've got, it's just unbelievable. Next video, we'll make a video number 2 as a follow-up to this one. Thank you very much for watching this. We appreciate it. And we're grateful for those who watch. It's important to get the word out. So don't just watch it on YouTube. Share it. Share it with your friends. If they don't like it, if they don't watch it, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We must just continue to do the work that we are doing. All right, everybody. God bless you and keep you. Cheers. Bye-bye.